live in Folly Beach, South Carolina. Mike, thank you for joining us this morning. How are things looking out there right now? Right now, it looks kind of calm behind you.
Well, yes, it is quiet out on the beaches compared to yesterday. We've got a pretty good breeze east-northeast running at about 15 miles an hour. Occasionally we get some sand blowing down the beach. The tide is going out. We've got about another 3 hours to low tide, and you can see the wave action out there, 3-footers, maybe some 4-footers, a couple surfers out by the end of the pier, and the Edisto buoy offshore by about 50 miles off Charleston, Edisto Beach, that area, is reporting 6.6 foot wave heights, and they've had wind gusts to 38 miles an hour. There go a couple of guys out into the water. Good luck, guys. Yeah, they're going to go out there. Water temperatures in the low 80s. Can't complain about that. No need to wear any kind of clothing but your board shorts. So look at the sunrise, though. Got to show you this. Looking to the north and northwest, up the beach here in Myrtle. And what you don't see is what we're going to show you on the radar. Beyond that, we've got this next band coming in, and you can see that northeast of where we are in Folly Beach. We're just outside of Charleston on the Atlantic, and that's going to rotate in. This is an outer band around Tropical Depression number 3, and see those darker colors. That's where we could get some wind gusts 30, maybe even 40 miles an hour. And before it comes in, as I've talked about, you feel the whoosh of the wind, and then the rain will just come right down the coast here. So we'll be able to show you that if it hits at the top or bottom of the hour in the morning this morning here on weather. Let me take you back to yesterday. Talk about an incredible July 4th here on the South Carolina coast. This is Folly Beach. This is yesterday late afternoon, around 6:30, early evening. Everybody was out here having a great time, and even right into sunset. No fireworks here. They canceled them because of the weather. A lot of folks went into Charleston, where they had an incredible fireworks display in the Charleston downtown area. So back here live, we've got the wind. No rain yet, but there's some rain coming in. The forecast will take the center of either Tropical Depression number 3 or Tropical Storm Chantal in north of us. So we'll be heading north, because along the path and to the right or north of where it comes on shore in South Carolina, that's the forecast, is where we'll get the strongest winds, the gustiest winds, and also the heaviest rainfall, and that will move inland. Plus, we're looking at a surge, a minimal surge, hurricane. There goes the hat. Hold on, we got to get that hat. Oh, jeez.
Do not lose the hat, Mike.
No. Wow.
Nice work. Nice work.
It'll end up down in Hilton Head. I was mentioning the surge of 1 to 2 feet above normally dry ground, above north of where that center comes in. So surge not a major issue. The rip currents, rough surf, of course, today and tomorrow. Today's beach weather will be touch and go here because of the showers coming through. But remember, rip currents are out there, and listen to the lifeguards. We'll see what they have flying today. They had the yellow flags flying yesterday for the rough surf.
So, Mike, do you think that Myrtle Beach is more of kind of a target area for the worst of the weather out of the system?
I'd say the northern part of the coast, from Pawleys, Georgetown, that area up to Myrtle Beach will be the area. And they do have the tropical storm watch from south of here, Edisto, up to Cape Fear now. So they do, the Hurricane Center included a small portion of the North Carolina coast. That's the part of the coast that faces south. Does not include Wrightsville Beach, and beaches up towards Morehead City at this point. We'll see how that changes, whether we have a storm at 11, and we're also waiting for the hurricane hunters. Look at the sand blowing down the beach.
Yes.
Look at that. See that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Much different than yesterday, Mike.
Reminds me of a Fargo blizzard. Yes, yes, different than yesterday. And we'll keep you updated from here. We'll be on Fox Weather all morning and show you the latest. Not expecting any dramatic change, though, as the winds gradually pick up. But we will get that rain band in here in the next hour or so.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mike, safe to say, hang on to your hat out there on the beach today. Be safe. Yeah. And we'll check in with you again shortly. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mike. Fox live in South Carolina at Folly Beach. Mike, you were just talking about this a few minutes ago, the expectation that this was going to become a tropical storm, and now here we are, as it appears the storm has been strengthening.
Yeah, now 40 mile an hour, so it's a minimal, low-grade tropical storm. It doesn't really change the story as far as the impacts go. The number one impact by far will be the locally heavy rain, especially along and where the center comes on shore north of here, sometime late tonight, but more than likely sometime Sunday morning. Maybe before sunrise, maybe just after sunrise. It's a broad center at this point. Sustained winds 40 miles an hour. It's moving north at 2. Expected to move more north and northeast and pick up some forward speed. The pressure is 1,009 millibars. Now, to put this in perspective, yesterday, when it was upgraded to a tropical depression at 5 Eastern, it was 1,013. So the pressure's only come down 4 millibars. What I'm trying to say is this is not going to rapidly intensify. It's not expected to, between shear and dry air and not being that well organized. It's really loaded on the east side like we see a lot of these weaker systems. We don't expect it to become any more than a tropical storm. The official forecast, and they'll update that in 3 hours at 11 from the Hurricane Center, is it to increase to 45 miles an hour. With that said, if you get a gust 40 to 45, it probably is not going to cause any structural damage, likely not to knock out any power, little if any power. Once again, re-emphasizing the rain. And then on these beaches, you'll have the wave action and certainly the rip currents, especially on the South Carolina coast up towards, say, Wrightsville. And you can see the surface up right now. We've got some surfers out there. There's a gentleman catching a wave right now, coming on in, and up, there he goes down into the water. Water temp, low 80s, not too shabby. Hey, let me take you back to yesterday. Friday, July 4th, Folly Beach. Boy, I tell you, the weather was epic. They did cancel the fireworks. That's a story for another day. And you can see where everybody was. Now, this is not 2 or 3 p.m. This is about 6:30, 6:45 last night. People just enjoying the late day, late evening, or early evening sunshine with temperatures in the mid-80s and a nice breeze off the water. Speaking of breezes, we've got the east-northeast wind around the periphery of the center, and we've got this one rain shower. We'll show you that on radar, this band that came in as expected, and it's just about over with. We're talking 5 to 7 minutes. Never rained very hard here. This is about as hard as it's rained. Maybe you can hear it on my jacket. Heavier rain by far was up north, up the coast towards Pawleys and up towards Litchfield Beach. And that's all rotating in around the center. As we go through later today and tonight, we'll see more of these bands and more in the way of heavy rainfall later tonight into Sunday morning. And then it goes inland, and that's really it. So it's a short impact, a minimal impact as far as property cost and power outages. I just don't think it's going to be that much of a problem, more of the rain. The real problem is that a lot of folks are paying a lot of money to be on these beaches this weekend, and the beach weather tomorrow is going to be really not good. In fact, today, it's not great at all either, although we'll probably get some more sunshine in here in between the showers. Michael? Tom?
Well, Mike, thank you so much. Yeah, like you said, everyone's there for the 4th of July holiday, and here comes the weather, right?
Literally raining on the parade.
Yes, well, Mike.
Starting to pick up some. We want to check in with Fox Weather storm specialist Mike Seidel, live for us in Folly Beach. Looks like, Mike, you may have removed your jacket, a.k.a. getting a little warmer as the hours creep on. But boy, oh boy, the impact's still the same, despite the fact that this was upgraded.
Yes, indeed. The reason I took the jacket off mainly is because we are done with the rain for now. We had the line come through. It was a quick hitter here, 0.08. That's it. Now, up the coast, they got hit harder. I found one rain gauge up in Georgetown County near North Santee with just over an inch, 1.17 inches, and some half-inch reports. They got a lot more rain. Take a look at the current radar, and you'll see that band has swept its way inland. Everything's rotating around the storm counterclockwise, and that is about 150 miles off the coast. It's not moving very much right now. Expected, though, to make landfall sometime Sunday morning north of here. The tropical storm watch was upgraded to the warning from the South Santee River up to Cape Fear, North Carolina. That includes Pawleys Island, Litchfield, Georgetown, Myrtle Beach, Horry County, and then up towards those beaches that face south in North Carolina. Well, the lifeguards are out this morning. They're getting ready. They're going to go do their workout. They've pulled the chair at this particular location, and down the beach you can see the chair with the yellow flag out here because the tide goes way out here. There's about a 5-foot tidal range, but you don't have much of a drop off in the slope of the coast here, so it goes way out. Low tide is coming up in the next 30 to 45 minutes. So the lifeguards are up here warming up, and then they'll be on their stands, I believe, at don't get me wrong on this. I think 9:30 a.m. and they're on the stands until 6 p.m. yesterday. Speaking of yesterday, take a look at the beach. This is yesterday about dinner time. It was very, very festive, despite that they canceled the fireworks here because of the weather. They had them in Charleston, and notice people in the water just hanging out, trying to get every ray of sunshine they can. Temperatures yesterday were in the upper 80s. The water temperature, by the way, is a very bath-like, ideal 83 degrees, a little cooler than it was on the Gulf Coast in Clearwater, where the water temp there in Clearwater was 87. So we got the surf rolling in, just a beautiful morning out here. We've had some surfers out there. I think there's one out. Oh, I think these are actually the lifeguards out there doing their warm-ups on the boards, and there's several walking up by the pier here at Folly Beach. So Michael and Kathy, you're back this morning. This is not a bad gig this morning, but we are going to be moving north, and the weather late tonight and tomorrow morning will be a lot more sporty up the coast, and we'll see if we catch the center coming in or not, depending on the timing. A lot of these things always, it seems like they always come in the middle of the night when we're not on TV, but this one's going to be closer to sunrise tomorrow morning up there in Georgetown and Horry counties up the coast here in South Carolina.
Mike, what kind of a morning do you think it's going to be there? Do you think we're going to have a crowd at the beach, or are the lifeguards going to keep people only knee-deep in the water?
You were stepped on by somebody. You'll have to repeat that.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I was just wondering if you expect crowds at the beach today, or if you think the lifeguards are going to keep people a little bit close to shore.
You know, I'll ask them. I talked to them yesterday, and yesterday they kept the yellow flags up. I believe they're up again this morning. Well, they got 2 flags up. Well, that's probably for the tropical system. I'll ask them what these flags mean. But I've got to go. We'll be back here in 30 minutes at Folly Beach. Kathy and Michael, back to you.
All right. Thanks so much, Mike Seidel. We'll be back for sure checking on the weather.
Absolutely. Well, hey,
storm specialist Mike Seidel live in Folly Beach. Mike, how are things looking out there this morning?
It's a beautiful morning here at Folly Beach, Tom. We've got a nice breeze taking a bit of an edge off the heat, although it's only about 80 degrees. We had one squall come through. It rained for about 10 minutes, maybe that much, 0.08. Was our total here. Now, a lot more rain up the coast so far. Up in Georgetown and Horry counties, they've had a ½ inch to just over an inch of rain. And you can see on the radar right now, we still have some rain up there. That's going to be the certainly the bullseye for the heavier rainfall totals. Georgetown, Horry counties into southern parts of North Carolina, up to Wilmington. Some of those areas may pick up in excess of 3 to 4 inches of rain before this pulls out of the way later tomorrow morning. We're expecting landfall sometime tomorrow morning, either before or after sunrise. The onshore flow will be to the right of the center, so that's where we could have a small surge. Hurricane Center is saying maybe 1 to 2 feet above normally high ground. Meanwhile, as we watch the surf, the water is way out. This is low tide right now. They've got the yellow flag flying because of the rough surf conditions, but they're not limiting how far you can go out. A lot of folks are just kind of sitting in the warm pool of water. Yes, the water temperature is 83 degrees here at Myrtle Beach. Can we talk to you?
I got something to take care of.
Okay, never mind. We're going to talk to the lifeguard and get the, but he's got something to take care of, more importantly. So that's how we stand right here, watching and waiting the developments, and we'll have another full update, a new track forecast from the National Hurricane Center coming up at the end of this hour, just before 11 o'clock Eastern time. And we'll see if there's any changes, probably nothing significantly. We're waiting to see about seeing how fast this thing's going to move in, because right now it's just crawling at a couple miles an hour to the north.
Okay. Wow, a lot happening and fast, Mike. This doesn't have a lot of time to strengthen, so we'll keep a careful eye and we'll check back in soon.
Good. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing, a very good thing. Thank you to our Mike.
A little more light on the latest National Hurricane Center advisory that just came in within the last few minutes. Mike, what are you learning?
Well, they have extended the tropical storm warning north from Cape Fear now up to Surf City, North Carolina. So that includes the Wilmington and the Wrightsville beach area. So the warning goes up that far. From Little Santee River down to Edisto, that includes this area. We're still under that tropical storm watch. The wind is definitely gustier. We'll have Lloyd pan over. You can see the sand blowing over the beach here. We're still at low tide. Tide's beginning to come in, but you can see the sand. And by the way, the alternating red and yellow flag. They'd like you to swim between that and the other one just up the beach. The other thing I've noticed is folks are not going very far out in the water. That's a good thing. The surf is dangerous, it's choppy, and there is a rip. So notice folks are maybe to their waist, but not much beyond that, looking up and down the beach. The water temperature, by the way, can't beat that in July here in South Carolina, 83 here at Folly Beach. Now, the forecast takes us on shore tomorrow morning around sunrise, give or take an hour or two, and the strongest winds and heaviest rain will be along into the north or to the right of where the center comes on. That's the general forecasting rule of thumb with tropical systems. Now, with that said, they're forecasting it to become a 50-mile-an-hour tropical storm, so a notch higher. And the pressure now is down to 1,007 millibars. So it's dropped 6 millibars since 5 o'clock yesterday when they upgraded it from PTC number 3, from the Invest to PTC number 3 to a tropical depression on number 3. So slowly dropping in pressure. We're not expecting any rapid strengthening with this particular system. So it's in and out tomorrow morning. The rain, the heavier rain, will go inland across eastern North Carolina towards the across the Sandhills and also into the Piedmont. And these areas are in a bit of a drought, so they can handle the rain. No flood watches out at this point, but there will probably be some local flash flooding if we get some training as these cells rotate around the center of Chantal. Tom?
And Mike, to your point, I just wanted to ask real quick, do you think that they're going to do any beach mitigation? Are they going to be closing any of the beaches from your experience based on tropical storm conditions?
I don't think so. I just don't think so. The thing is, tomorrow morning, it comes on shore. Now, tomorrow, once we get to mid to late morning, we'll still have gusty winds and even a few squalls rotating in, primarily in eastern North Carolina, and those will produce maybe some 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. But the lifeguards will be out there tomorrow, no doubt. There'll be some sun, and they'll keep everybody safe. But I can't imagine at this point any of the beaches being officially closed, so they don't want anybody even on the beach. That doesn't seem likely. And that's how it stands right now. Rain, the number one issue. Gusts 40, 50 miles an hour, maybe some minor power outages, not going to have any significant structural damage. And then everything will move on through. So it's a quick hitter. It's not a major tropical storm, but certainly I've noticed the wind freshening up here at Folly Beach over the past half an hour or so, now gusting upwards of about 20 miles an hour. The buoy off the coast by about 50 miles, Edisto, that's the name of the buoy off Edisto Beach in Charleston, has gusted to tropical storm force of 40 miles an hour. Right now, their sustained winds are between about 25 and 30, with gusts in the mid-30s. And wave heights out there have been running 7 to 8 feet. Again, that's 50 miles offshore.
Mike, thank you so much for that. Yeah, we see that wind blowing right there behind you. Keep us posted. We're going to check in with you again shortly. Thank you so much for the update there from Folly Beach, South Carolina.